the particle size falls below 0.002 millimeter. This is also called as a 2 microns. So 2 microns. Any particle which is lesser than 2 microns is called as a clay. In soil mechanics, it is called as a clay, which in general is called as a colloidal particle. Any particle whose size range is less than 2 micron in general is called as a colloidal particle, but it can also be said as the clay. So as far as soil mechanics is concerned. So okay, now what are the typical attributes of the granular soil whose size range is above 2 micron and the cohesion soil whose size range is below 2 microns? So the particle whose size range is less than 2 micron, this exhibits something like the attraction between two particles. That is called as a cohesion. Adhesion, there is another terminology. So that is contemporary to cohesion is adhesion. So adhesion is the force of attraction between two different materials. But here, so this is a soil of the same category. So therefore, the attraction between any two particles is called as a cohesion. So this is called as a cohesion. But this cohesion is completely absent in case of boulders or cobbles or gravels or sand or silt. So you must remember these things. So of course, the same thing will be taught in our soil mechanics also. So no need to bother. But for today's purpose, I am just giving a clarification that so if the particle size range is less than 2 microns, it behaves like or it exhibits some kind of a cohesion. The soil particles above 2 microns, they do not exhibit any kind of the cohesion. They are passive to water, while clay is active to water. So clay attracts the water, while silt, sand, gravel, cobble, boulder, none of these particles attracts any amount of a water. So this is the fundamental distinction. Now one important thing that you need to remember is, when I say the particle size, so there are two things. Now I did not mention when I said about the particle size whether the particles are uniform or non-uniform. So you may find particles of uniform size or non-uniform size. In general, if you look at any soil, so it comprises of almost non-uniform particles or non-uniform size of the particles. But how shall I distinguish between uniform and non-uniform? So very simple. Suppose the all particles are of the same size. So they are called as a uniform particles. So irrespective of these things, so then it is called as a non-uniform. Say for example, so this is called as a non-uniform particle size range, uniform particle size range. So this is one of the very fundamental thing that every student has to remember. Okay, because if you go to any place, when you say I'm a soil mechanics engineer or a geotechnical engineer, the very first question they will ask is whether the soil is uniform or non-uniform, or homogeneous or heterogeneous. So I don't talk about homogeneous, heterogeneous. So let us try to understand about today's class. So when you see the soil, you need to say whether the particles are of uniform size or non-uniform size. And most of the time, we always designate a particular soil, say gravel or sand or silt, with the particle size range. So example 82 4.75, 4.75 to 0.075, 0.075 to 0.002. So we always represent with the size range. We never represent a particle of a particular size, say 5 millimeter or 2 millimeter or 1 micron or 1 nanometer. That never possible. It's always a range. Now, if you look at the handout, so here there are two sections that was mentioned. The section A is a granular soil, while section B is a cohesive soil. Section A is a granular soil, section B is a cohesive soil. So here, how to identify visually and manually this granular soil, or if a soil is given, how can you distinguish this is a granular soil or this is a cohesive soil? So all the guidelines have been given here. So based on the size, if you look at the size, boulder greater than 300 millimeter, cobbles 300 to 80. Then sand. So in the sand, the maximum and minimum size range is 4.75 to 0.075. But this size range has further been classified into three categories. That is coarse sand, medium sand, and fine sand. Coarse sand 4.75 to 2 millimeter, medium sand 2 millimeter to 0.425 millimeter, fine sand 0.425 millimeter to 0.075 millimeter. While less than 0.075 and up to 2 microns, it is called as a silt. So this is the description of the granular soil based on the size. Now, depending upon the percentage of that particular fraction, we can say that particular fraction is available in trace amount or little amount or some amount or majority. Suppose if it is 1 to 10%, then we say it is a trace amount. Then if it is 10 to 20%, little amount, and 20 to 35 some amount, and greater than 35 is major amount. So this description is valid for any kind of the soils, but there is a specific description is available for sand and silt components. So for the sand, there is a simple test that is called as a field test. Field means you take some amount of the soil so into your palm and you try to add some amount of the water and try to press by taking a small chunk of the soil between your thumb and forefinger and keep on rub it. Suppose if it is a fine grain soil, you feel smooth texture. So for example, you take out the talcum powder. So if you rub between your thumb and forefinger, you feel very smooth texture. But at the same time, if you take a sand and if you rub between your thumb and forefinger, you feel something like a gritty, harsh sensation. So this is how we have to distinguish. Suppose if you are feeling harsh or gritty kind of a sensation, then you can say this is the coarse grain soil, maybe silt or maybe sand. So on the other hand, suppose if you are feeling very smooth, then we can say this is a cohesive soil or fine grain soil. So this is how the manual classification system can be done. So then next is color. So that is option D. So here the color depends upon the mineralogy and texture. So here different colors has been given. So you should describe a soil as gray and bluish. So usually why a particular soil shows that particular color is because of this reason. Suppose if you find any soil of gray and bluish color, that may be because of unoxidized soils. That means a few of the chemicals are added to oxidize. And white and cream. So these soils are rich in calcium component. So those are called as a calcareous soils. Suppose if you are finding a soil of red and yellow color, that means this soil already got oxidized soil. Black and dark brown. So these soils might contain some amount of the organic matter. So these are the typical 4 variety of colors normally you see of any soils. So the first is gray and bluish color soils, white and cream soils, red and yellow soils, black and dark brown color. Okay. And how these colors has been imbibed to these soils has also been given the reason. So because of unoxidized chemicals presence, the soils might remain the gray and bluish color. Suppose if the calcium content is too much, then that particular soils may be white and cream color. If the soils already got oxidized, then they may be red and yellow. If the soils contain organic matter, they are black and dark brown. There is another way of classification. Suppose if the soil contains too much of organic content, you can also identify the same thing by order. So if the soil contains too much of organic component, so it emanates some kind of very pungent smell. So that indicates that this particular soil is rich in organic content. But some soils, even without pungent smell also, so they might be containing a rich amount of organic content. So there is a different way of finding out. So that is none of our botheration right now, because it won't fall under visual or manual classification. Visual means we should see and tell. So here the manual is we are identifying by the smell. So apart from the smell, so just leave it. Then based on the shape, so as I told, a particle can be classified as angular, subangular, subrounded, rounded and flaky. So these are the 5 terminology that you must accord to any soil particle, and the definition of angular, subangular, subrounded, rounded, everything has been given. Now at the end, so once you have visualized a particular soil, now based on the size, based on the color, based on the shape, so how do you inbuilt all these things into the description? So here it has been given. For example, typical description of the granular soil. Soil 1, brownish fine gravel, some coarse to fine sand content, trace silt, trace clay, angular, dry. So this is the full descriptive terminology you have to give at the end. And this is so important because the same terminology is used in reports. There is something called as a soil exploration. There is something called as a soil exploration. So this typically involves identifying what kind of the soils it is and how far, means how much depth this particular soil got extended. So in these or during the soil exploration, whatever the kind of the soils that we have encountered, so using this kind of the description, all the soils are described in the report. So that report is called as a soil exploration report or geotechnical report. Now here the descriptive terminology has been given for 2 things, coarse grained soil and fine grained soil. So now this completes the coarse grained. Similarly, if you look at the section B that describes about the cohesive soil. So as I told, in case of the granular soil, so these soils are passive to water. They won't attract any amount of the water. But the moment you talk about the cohesive soil, they absorb immense amount of water. So most likely in as a child, you might have played with the clay. So this clay has a lot of water, but at absorbable level. That means that absorption happens because of the some electrochemical forces. So when you go to your clay mineralogy chapter of the soil mechanics, at that time you will come to know what the meaning of electrochemical forces. But as of now, I am saying the clay particles holds water because of the electrochemical forces, and which are responsible for the cohesiveness of these clay particles. That's what you should aware. And here terminology has been given. For example, if you look at this table of the cohesive soil, like a silt, degree of plasticity none, plasticity index non-plastic. So here plastic and non-plastic means it is very simple. Again, you take any small amount of the cohesive soil and add some amount of the water. Take some fraction of the soil, wet soil, between your thumb and forefinger, and you try to keep on separate thumb and forefinger. In the previous case, you are rubbing between thumb and forefinger, but in this case, when you want to check the plasticity, take a wet soil between thumb and forefinger and try to separate thumb and forefinger. Suppose if you do not feel any kind of a force of a separation, then that is non-plastic material. But suppose if you feel a lot of force is required to separate that wet soil, then that is called as a plastic soil. That is called as a plasticity. More force is required means more plastic is the soil. So less force is required means less plastic is the soil. Okay. Now how this is possible? Because just now I told the clay particles exhibit cohesive property. Because of the cohesion, they are holding the water. So because of the holding water, they exhibit this kind of the plasticity. So but these are all just very general. So when very qualitative. Next, another identification technique for cohesive soil is dilatancy. So there is a very simple test for dilatancy. That dilatancy is very simple. So for and this dilatancy test is used to distinguish between the clay and sand, clay and silt. So in case of the dilatancy, so just listen very carefully. In case of the dilatancy test, you take any fine grained soil which dominantly comprises of silt and clay particles. That means I have exclusively taken the soil particles of lesser than 0.075 millimeter. And lower size I do not know, but the maximum particle size is 0.075. So take it. So some 10 to 20 grams of the soil, so which is passing through the particles of lesser than 0.075 millimeter. So take into your palm, add some water, in fact ample amount of water. At the bottom of your palm, simply apply some force in the form of a pads. Now the moment you apply the energy, if the soil is dominant with the silt, the water oozes out immediately from the soil. So on the top surface you can see accumulation of the water. So if the water accumulated on top surface, you should conclude that that soil is predominantly contains the silt fraction. On the other hand, suppose even after applying the significant number of pads at the bottom of the palm, if no water oozes out or comes onto the top surface, you should conclude that that particular soil is dominant with the clay particles. So this is called as a dilatancy test. So I repeat, you take 20 to 30 grams of the soil in your palm, add ample amount of the water. So at the bottom of the palm, apply some force in the form of a pads. So you repeat the force several number of times. Maybe after a couple of seconds, if you see the accumulation of water on the top surface of the soil, then you should conclude that particular soil is dominant with the silt fraction. If you don't see any accumulation of the water, you should conclude that that particular soil is dominant with the clay. So this is called as a dilatancy test, which is typically used to categorize whether the soil is a silty soil or the clay soil. Very simple, can be done directly in the field. Then based on the dry strength also, so here the criteria has been given. None, the dry specimen ball crumbles into the powder with the slightest handling pressure. Low dry strength, the dry specimen crumbles into powder with some pressure from fingers. Medium strength, the dry specimen breaks into pieces or crumbles with a moderate finger pressure. High dry strength, the dry specimen cannot be broken with the finger pressure. Specimen will break into pieces between thumb and a hard surface. Very high, the dry specimen cannot be broken between the thumb and hard surface. So these are standard guidelines. So you can refer to all these guidelines when you try to do the visual or manual identification of the soil. So apart from this, now based on the size also it has been given. So another important identification system for silt and clay is making some threads. Here also very simple. You take again 20 to 30 grams of the soil, which is again comprising particles of lesser than 0.075 millimeter. Now this time what you do is you try to make some kind of threads out of the wet soil. Of what size? The size is mentioned in the tabular form. Just look into the another table. So the approximate relationship between thread diameter and descriptive terminology. For example, if you can able to make a thread diameter of 6 millimeter, then the descriptive terminology is silt and with a trace amount of the clay. If you can able to make thread of 3 millimeter to 1.5 millimeter, then it is clayey silt. And if you can able to make only 0.8 millimeter diameter of the thread, it is silty clay. And if it is 0.4 millimeter diameter thread, it is called as a clay. Okay, so based on the ability of converting the soil into thread, you can also categorize whether the given soil is dominant with the silt or clay. Again, this test also can directly be done at the field condition. Then another identification based on the color, which is very similar to the granular soil. Then another important thing that comes when you deal with the fine grained soils is consistency. So here again a detailed criterion has been given. So we can say very stiff finger pressure barely dents soil but cracks under significant pressure. That is called as a very stiff soil. Stiff soil, finger pressure dents soil. Firm soil, firm consistency, soil can be molded using strong finger pressure. Soft, easily molded by finger. Very soft soil flows between fingers when fist is closed. So this is to identify the consistency. Then based on the shape, but of course in case of the cohesive soil, since the particles are lesser than 0.075 millimeter, the first thing is that our human naked eye cannot able to see the particles of lesser than 0.075 millimeter. So therefore, giving a specific designation of the shape doesn't make any sense. It is valid only in case of the granular soils, that is above the sand level. Then order. So again I told organic soils give a strong odor that intensifies with heat. We can see some pungent smell if the soil contains a lot of amount of the organic matter. So here different variety of organic soils also given. A few of the highly organic soils, that is section C, you can look into it. So section A deals with granular soil. Section B deals with visual and manual identification of the cohesive soil. Section C deals with visual and manual identification of highly organic soil. So it is very rare you encounter an organic soil. The first thing is that whenever you are encountering organic soil, no construction is allowed on such a kind of the soils. Okay, but it is important to identify the presence of the organic soils in it because they pose immense amount of problems to the structure. So a few variety of organic soils are meadow or root mat, peat, humus, lignite. These are very few organic soils. There are a lot of other organic soils you can find in the literature, usually in the soil mechanics we deal with only these four variety of organic soils. Okay, so now based on the given sections A, B and C, so you will be given a variety of the soils. So now your task is to fill all this entire table. So for example, if you take the soil 1, now as I told, you take a pinch of the soil between your thumb and forefinger and so press it, then express how do you feel it. Do you feel gritty or harsh or smooth or whatever it is. So the same thing you have to record here. Similarly, dilatancy. So dilatancy is not valid for the sand, for the gravel, for the cobbles, for the boulder. It is valid only to distinguish between silt and sandy soil. Dilatancy is typically valid, so to distinguish between silt and clayey soil. Then dry strength. So here also the dry strength is valid again in case of the cohesive soils. A simple demonstration is if you take out the sand. So sand we always see in pulverized form. We will never see in the form of in lumps. So it is always in pulverized form. That means each particle is individual particle. So the dry strength reporting to any granular soil doesn't make any sense. Similarly, color. So color is valid for every kind of the soil. It has been given gray or bluish, gray or dark. So white and cream, whatever it is. Then order. So take small amount of the soil, keep near to your nose. See is it emanating any kind of any pungent smell or like any other chemical smell. So the earth has its own smell, or the soil has its own smell. Then consistency. So consistency means take a wet soil sample. Again, consistency is valid for the cohesive soil whose particle size range is less than 0.075. The consistency is not valid for sand or gravel or cobbles or boulders. So be aware of this. Then shape. So shape is valid predominantly for the granular soil. As I told, our human eye cannot able to perceive the particle size range of less than 0.075 millimeter. So therefore, it is typically valid only for the granular soil. But if you can able to make some sense to the fine grained soils, that is well and good. Then at the end, descriptive terminology. So that is the combination of above all. So like the way it has been written at the end of the section A or at the end of the section B or at the end of the section C. So this is what all about the visual and manual classification of the soil system. So if you have any questions, so from your handout, so you are most welcome to ask.
Sir, first of all, that sir, where you have uploaded the questions means that the assignment questions.
Assignment questions.
Yeah, sir, for the 1B, because sir, as for the whatever you have updated there, I can't find anything like the any Word document there. Means in the class document folder. So sir, we are getting only experiment 1B a PDF file. They are not having any questions. And on the other hand, whatever you have sent mail for the 1A, they are having 3-4 questions in that manual.
Okay.
So
Okay, no problem. So if that particular assignment worksheet or PDF sheet is not available, you simply answer whatever the questions available in the handout, regular handout. That's
means
good.
whatever you have sent previously in the mail in that.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And the second thing is that, sir, as you have told that the taking the 5 type of soil or 5 different types of soil. So, sir,
Yes.
those who are staying, suppose that means whatever I am saying that suppose some in the planar region, so it will be very difficult to get 5 different types of soil because we can get maximum 2 or hardly 3 types of soil we can get.
Okay, at least make an attempt. Even if you can able to report for 3, that is also good enough. Your exercise is fulfilled.
Okay, sir.
No issue, no issue.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Others?
Sir, for descriptive terminology, how can you write trace and little amounts?
Trace and that means it is again qualitative only. Just whenever you are taking some fraction of the soil into your fauna, so you can easily identify. So it's a wild guess. There is no quantitative rules. So it's your wild guess. Okay, so whatever you write, it is okay. But use your just as a common sense, that's it. Yeah, any other questions?